Hello and welcome to my compare and contrast between the Artificer from D&D 5e to the Mechanist of Tales of the Valiant. The first change between Artificer and Mechanist is their starting HP or hit points. 1d8 for Artificer, 1d10 for Mechanist. Another small change between Artificer and Mechanist is the starting equipment. Artificer has any two simple weapons of your choice, while the Mechanist has an option between a martial weapon or a shield, or two simple weapons of your choice. The next small change between Artificer and Mechanist, Artificer just gets simple weapons as its proficiency, and as tools they get Thieves' Tools, Tinker's Tools, and one Artisan Tools of their choice. While the Mechanist and Tales of the Valiant get one new weapons called Martial Weapons proficiency in, and as tools they get Tinker's Tools also, but also two additional tools of their choice. And now on to some more bigger changes. Artificers get spellcasting at first level, and they're a half caster, so they don't gain as much spells as regular spellcasters do, but they do gain spellcasting. Instead of spellcasting, Mechanists in TOV gain a Shard of Creation. A Shard of Creation is a magic item you can create which has a number of charges equal to your intelligence modifier, which can be used to make two things. Inspire is the first thing you can use. When you make an ability check while holding the shard, regardless of its current form, you can spend one charge and roll a d6 and add that number to your check result. The second thing you can do with a Shard of Creation is within 10 feet of you, you can transform it into a weapon or shield, non-magical, or any item that is medium or smaller. Another change or difference between Tales of the Valiant Mechanist and Artificer in D&D 5e is the Artificer at first level also gains, basically, while Mechanists in TOV gain Eyes the Maker feature. When you touch a magic item or some other magic imbued item object, you learn its properties and how to use it, whether it requires attunement to use, and how many charges, if any, it has. You learn whether spells are affecting the item and what they are. And if the item is created by a spell, you learn what spell created it. So it's basically a free identify for Mechanists get at first level. And that's the differences between Artificers and Mechanists at first level. The second level features and differences between Artificer and Mechanist in TOV and D&D 5e. Artificers gain Infuse Item, which allows you to pick 4 artificial fusions you can learn, and you can infuse regular items into magic items. You get a list of options when you reach certain levels to get to choose what infusions you know. And the options can be between magic items which are already in the game, or magic items which are unique to the Artificer and their creations. Here are the basic rules of how infusing an item works in case any of you are curious. Mechanists gain the ability Augment at second level, which is basically the infuse an item with magical properties, like a magic item, except it's technically counted not as a magic item, but anyway, this one's very similar except for one difference. You can also stack it on magic items that are not used augment features. So you can stack a magic item with an augment item, which basically means you can augment an item when it's already magical and has effects. But you cannot stack augmented items. You can't augment an augment already. That's not allowed. Mechanists also have the effective action feature, what allows you to use an items more effectively in a chaos of battle. Basically, you can use an object action as a bonus action instead of an action. Use an object action is basically like pulling lever while you're in the middle of combat, or punching someone, or casting a spell. You can also use an object or use something else what's in the middle of it. So like typing on a computer or something. But yeah, that's effective action you gain at level 2 as a mechanist. Besides, Artificer and Mechanist both gain their subclass features at level 3. A feature that D&D 5e's Artificer only has, and not the Mechanist of TOV, is the right tool for the job. It allows you to produce the exact tools you need in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you, as long as you have the Thieves' Tools or Artisan Tools, and you have 1 hour uninterrupted work. If you use this feature again, you lose it. It's a pretty cool feature if you need tools at a moment's notice. But a feature that all mechanists get at 5th level is multi-attack. So you get to attack twice, and all mechanists can get this ability. In D&D 5e, your proficiency bonus is now doubled for any ability check you make with a tool you have proficiency in, if you're a Artificer. Mechanists get a completely different feature at 6th level called Rapid Augment, which you can use to augment as a bonus action, and you can touch item and basically augment your item. You can use Rapid Augment a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier and regain all charges after you finish a long rest. Another feature that only D&D 5e's Artificer gets is Flask of Genius. You gain the ability to come up with solutions under pressure. When you see a creature or yourself make a saving throw or ability check within 30 feet of you, you can add your intelligence modifier to it. You can only use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once. Next feature for the Mechanist is 9th level, which is Greater Curation, which basically gives you an upgrade to your Sharded Curation feature. So instead of your ability checks to your help action is 1d6, it's now 1d8. And you can now transform your shard into a large or smaller tool or non-magical object. And now we're going over the 10th level feature, starting with the Artificer's D&D 5e's Magic Item Adept. At 10th level, Artificer gets a profound understanding of how to use magic items. You can attune to up to 4 magic items at once, and if you craft a magic item with rarity common or uncommon, it takes a quarter the amount of time, and it costs you half as much gold to craft. I find this a little interesting because there's not really good crafting rules in D&D 5e, I think. And yes, I know about the Xanathar rules and the Dungeon Master Guide rule. Next up is Heroic Boon for Tales of the Valiant 10th level features for Mechanists. All Tales of the Valiant characters gain a 10th level feature, what is called Heroic Boon, which lets you choose between 2 options, and you only get to choose one of those options, and they stay with you for the rest of the game. The first option you gain is Curse of Unmaking, which makes you, as an action, you can make a melee spell attack against one creature you can hit. On a successful hit, your target becomes cursed and is vulnerable to all damages. It can attempt a con save on each one of its turns to end the effect on a success. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again. I think that feature is pretty good. To make someone vulnerable to all damages is a pretty busted feature. But the other ability you get to choose from is also pretty good, I'd say. It's called Mend the Broken, and as action, you can use touch a creature or item that causes it to magically regain the number of hit points equal 5 times your Mechanist level. This also compares to catastrophic damage, such as losing a limb or missing parts or other harm that would ordinarily be unrepairable. You can only do this once per long rest, but it cannot return magic item charges or return something magical back together if it's already been broken or the magic has been destroyed. Going over to the next feature that D&D 5e gains for Artificers is Spell Storing Item. You can now store a spell in an object. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one item with simple or martial weapon, or one item that uses spellcasting focus, and you can store a first or second level spell into it, which requires one action to cast. While holding that object, you can use an action to produce the spell effect until using your spell effect modifier. If the spell requires a concentration, you must use concentration, and you can use it the number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier. Minimum of 2. So I think that's a pretty good ability. You can't use it again if you store another spell into another object, but it's pretty good all around. The next ability I think is pretty good. It's called Engineer Insight, and as long as you have 1 minute of uninterrupted work to focus on a task, when you roll an ability check, treat your d20 rolls or lower as a 9 or lower as a 10. Normal activities like moving don't interrupt focus, but anything that is attacking, taking damage, or participating in anything that requires initiative order does interrupt focus. So make sure you check with your DM what you can and cannot do when you're using this ability. The next item or ability that Artificers gain is Magic Item Savant. And your skills with Magic Item Deepen. You can attune to 5 magic items at once, and you know are all item, class, race, spell, and level requirements on attuning or using magic items. So I think that's pretty good. So you could just basically take magic items that are normally set for one class and just use them anyway. In comparison, Mechanists get the Range Augment feature at 14th level, which allows you to use Rapid Augment feature on items you can see within 60 feet of you, which means you no longer have to touch them. In addition, when an Augment feature you would typically require you to touch an item to activate its properties, you no longer need to touch the item as long as it's within 60 feet of you to activate the item. You don't need to see the item to activate the properties in this way either. And next up is Always Prepared for the Mechanist. When you would take damage from an attack, you can use a reaction to use an object action. So I'm not sure how this could help or anything, but I'm sure there is something you can use it for to activate an effect. I'm just not seeing it. But continuing on to Artificer from D&D 5e, is Magic Item Master, which is a very simple 18th level feature. You can now attune to up to 6 magic items at once, which I Yeah, you get all your 6 magic items you can attune to, so I think that's pretty great. In comparison, Mechanists get Perfect Curation at 18th level, which allows you to increase your ability checks now to D10 when to add to your rolls or saves, or you can now transform, including structures and vehicles, into your Shard of Curation into huge objects or other things, vehicles and stuff. And finally, the 20th level abilities. Your first one is the Artificers from D&D 5e, which you get Soul of the Artifice. You gain a +1 to all saving throws per magic item you're currently attuned to, and if you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can use a reaction to end one of your Artificer infusions and instead cause yourself to drop to 1 HP instead of 0. For the Mechanists in Tales of the Valiant, you get an epic boon called Creative Engine. You get a +1 to all your saves for each effect your augmented feature is currently active on items within 60 feet of you. If you sail a save on any items within 60 feet of you, you can automatically end one of those effects, your choice, to succeed on a save instead. It's a little different, but it's very similar to the Soul of the Artifice. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing to my video. Hope to catch you all later.